Alex, can you make sure that you have access to that that doc I just put in the chat? We should. I think I added everybody to the group, but let's just test it.
Okay, I can get into it here. I was able to verify access.
Perfect. Okay. All right, we will go ahead and get started. Sergio, thank you for being here, even though you're at KubeCon. Hope that you're having a good time there. Too bad I didn't send you a bunch of stickers. You could have been handing out alien heads.
I'm working on it.
Good. So I think the big, in terms of outreach, I'll do outreach first, and Steve can do a summary on the architecture. We're pretty close to our May 8th launch for Emporus. It's pretty exciting. We have a press release that's been approved by Red Hat. Vincent Dannon gave us a quote. We've got it included in the CDF press release that they're going to be doing for May 8th. So we'll have a press release that I'm sending out to my press contacts. I'm trying to get an interview with Vincent, myself, and Andy, or anybody else from Emporus who's going to be at CDCon. With TechStrong TV, they'll have an interview place that they're going to be scheduling interviews for news announcements. So I'm working on getting us a spot on that. And I think those were the big items. So we do need it would be really great if we had a blog. So Alex, I don't know if you're into writing, but if we could do a blog on Emporus, in particular, what it is and why it's important, and then I'd be happy to add in how Ortelius will integrate. If we can get a blog, they'll publish that blog the week of May 8th as well. So we have a lot of news and outreach going on around the Emporus subproject, which is fun and exciting. And I think, this is how it starts, and afterwards it gets quiet. That's when we got to put our heads down and go to work, and then start doing releases around or announcements around releases. We have the blogathon is now officially closed. We did, let me see if I have share my screen. We ended up with a good number of blogs. We got one getting started as an Ortelius open source contributor, leveraging Ortelius for vulnerability tracking, SBOM big picture, using SIFT with Ortelius, the 2003 Ortelius architecture, and then the how to submit blogs to Ortelius, which I did as part of this. We also have is blockchain safe, mentoring for mentors and mentees, and then there was an update done to the GitHub bounty program that was just part of news. But the new ones were SBOMs and usage in the software delivery lifecycle, mentoring for mentors and mentees, is blockchain safe, how to submit blogs, the 23 Ortelius architecture using SIFT, SBOM picture, and leveraging SBOM or Ortelius for vulnerability tracking, and getting started as an open source contributor. So congratulations. That's a great number of blogs. I'm so happy to have the content to move it forward over the course of the year. So everybody, great job of getting the blogs done. We do have coming up, we have the May 19th is just around the corner, where we got literally a month. We do have 2 keynotes. Steve is going to go through the new Ortelius architecture, and Andy is going to introduce Emporus and the concepts around a universal object reference. We do have one lightning talk that is Tony. He did one on why you should be a mentor. He did it in a podcast format. I think I'm just going to add some visuals to it. But if you submitted a blog, or if you're interested in doing a 10-minute lightning talk on any topic, please let me know, because we do need to add some lightning talks to here. I need at least, I'd say if we could get 3 lightning talks in there, that would be great. 5 would be better, but we could do it with 3. So please consider doing a 10-minute talk. And I need to get that stuff. It's pre-recorded. So you record it on your own. You send it off to me. I do a little bit of producing on it, adding the intro and the closing, and then we run it on Twitch. So it's fairly easy to get it done. So don't be shy. And that is what I have for on the outreach side.
Okay, so on the architecture side, not sure everybody was following along, but we made a slight pivot on the coding side. We went from Python over to Golang just because of the libraries we needed for the IPFS SIDs and NFT storage and other some of the blockchain stuff are in the Golang, and they were lagging in the Python side. We could have written them, but it just wasn't worth it. So I've written a common code module that has all of our objects that we currently know about defined. And the next step is to create some of the microservices for folks to kind of model after. And then also the common code library will be used for basically the database abstraction layer. So that's coming along on that front. I did talk to Andy yesterday. We went over some of the changes that we need to make for GitHub. And so in the past, we didn't use a .github repo. So that is going to change. So we will be using the .github repo. And what that does is it basically allows you to place like your license file, your code of conduct, all those things in like one place, and all the other repositories refer to that. So it's like a easier way to maintain the repository common pieces like license files and stuff like that. As part of that, we're going to transition from using GitHub teams and organizational members to doing all the GitHub security as code like Emporis is. So I'm going to bring over this week the Emporis, basically the owner's files, get them in place, add our stuff to it, and get that pushed out. So I'll let everybody know on Discord what's going on that front when I go ahead and do that, because it may break things for a couple hours if I don't get the security YAML quite right. I think we'll run into a couple bumps in that front, but it shouldn't be a big deal to get sorted out. What were the other things? I added Andy as an admin to our Discord server as well. We should be, he's at CDCon. When he gets a chance, he's going to create a couple Emporis channels on our Discord server. So keep an eye out for those as well popping up. Trying to think what else that I have going on. Just in general, and you probably noticed if you're on Discord earlier that I have an automated process or semi-automated process to keep us up to date with the Dependabot PRs and stuff like that. So we've been trying to keep our vulnerability score at an A level. So we get an A grade out on Artifact Hub. Usually it'll take me a day or two if there's a vulnerability come out, because sometimes there's some research that we need to do to find out which like chain guard image has it fixed in those type of things. So but usually things are moving along pretty quickly. So our grade for our vulnerability scanning is really high at that level. So that's the main stuff that I have.
So Steve, I have a question for you on that since I was looking at it. Are we doing anything? Are we getting a open SSF scorecard badge?
No, not yet, because as part of so what Tracy's referring to is the Open SSF has a scorecard project, and you can get a badge from that. And what you have to do is you have to put in your GitHub workflow, the Open SSF scorecard action. And that will basically does about a dozen different checks, and gives you points for each one of the checks. And then after all that, it averages out and gives you an overall score. I have not enabled that yet because there's some issues that we have to get sorted out around. We need a security markdown file. Basically, the security markdown file tells folks if they find a security flaw in our code, how they can report it privately, for us to then start working on it and addressing at that level. So that's one of the things I need to put into the .github repo is the security markdown file. There's some logistical things about it because it needs an email address and things like that. And I'm going to talk to Fatih to see if there's a generic like CDF email address that we can use on that front. So
Could we use the Ortelius generic email?
we don't have one.
No.
We have the Gmail account. So we have the Ortelius open source Gmail account, but nobody ever goes in there and checks it.
Yeah, I do on occasion, but not that often.
Yeah, so this is if somebody reports in, I found a security flaw in your software last night. This is how you recreate it and things like that. And it's supposed to be like a private conversation, so people don't exploit it. So it's just some logistical things. It's not hard to figure out, but that's one of the things that's in the OpenSSF scorecard that we need. The other part that's in there that I don't know how we're going to do yet is the fuzz scanning, and I believe that's done by, I can't remember if it's Microsoft or Google. But there's an open source fuzz project that you have to actually ask them to go and scan your repository. So you have to get them to add you to their project. So I don't know how we're going to go about doing that.
I think we just do and see what happens.
Yeah, but that's one of the things that's on the list as well. For the scorecard pieces.
And we can talk to one of the guys who's running this when we're at Open SSF days.
Yes, that's where some of this is going to come into play, where it's easier to talk in person to get things figured out.
So I'm sharing the screen on what this OSS fuzz is.
Yep, that's it. And I can't remember if it's a Microsoft or a Google one.
It says right here, Google. I can't tell. I was looking here too to figure out who.
That's Google. You can see by the repo, the org level Google.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So yeah, I think we just go ahead and ask for it, and if they decline it, we can complain to
Brian.
Brian, exactly.
Or actually, we can complain to the TOC at the OpenSSF because they're the ones that are requiring this.
Yeah, so we'll make sure and attend that. There's going to be a lightning talk on fuzzing at OpenSSF, so we'll be sure and attend that and introduce ourselves to the person.
But the last time I ran the scorecard, I think we're getting like a 6 out of 10. And there's other things that we have to enable, like branch protection. So we can't push directly to the main branch. Those type of things have to be enabled at that level.
I just put in the chat the scorecard website, if anybody's interested in what it does. It shows you, if you go to the repo, I think it shows you all of the, how did I get to the repo? The checks, maybe? Anyways, this website will take you to a place where it says what all the checks it is that it does.
Yeah, and there's things that are just broken on this stuff that like it wants you to do like CI tests. So we can enable doing a CI test, but it has to be you have to write the CI test in the format that this scorecard thing is going to recognize as an actual test. If you have some other testing tool that you're using and the scorecard doesn't know about it, then it doesn't count because you'll still get flagged for not having CI tests.
I posted the GitHub repo in the chat.
Yeah, it's one of these, you know, it's an early project, but you know, it's one of those things that you have to kind of all you know, do it their way in order to get counted. Like one of the things, like on the they asked for like static code analysis, and I've been enabling Megalinter to lint our code. But the Megalinter isn't covered by any of their checks. So even though we have a tool in place that is doing all the same stuff like that CodeQL is doing, we don't get counted. So we actually have to run both of them at the same time.
Okay. Any other topics that we may have failed to chat about? I think that kind of gives everybody a review of what our outreach and what our architecture has been doing in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to, you know, dive into the scorecard stuff, just send me a message on Discord.
I will research on it.
Okay. I've been working with just like one repo, trying to figure out what it all means. And then once we get closer, then I'll need help, Arvin, to roll it out to all the other repositories. Oh, and that does remind me of one thing. We did get enabled, Fatih and one of the developers from the CNCF side did help us to enable dev stats as part of our like analytics of the project. And when they did that, it actually went and fixed insights as well. So we used to pick up all these repositories that were like the old pet store repositories and these repositories that we've actually deleted and stuff. And there was reporting, adding those into the reports. I was able to get all that cleaned up at that level. So dev stats and insights are looking better for us.
Nice.
And I will,
we will implement.
yeah, I'll get
Yeah,
all
go
the
ahead.
links put out for everybody so they can see it. Maybe I'll just write a blog so we can have all the links out there for people to look at where things are, where to find them, because they can be pretty hidden.
Wow, thank you.
Any questions on any of that stuff? And then the only thing that when I was talking to Andy yesterday, the plan will be to coordinate around the press release and the announcement, the migration of the repositories and things like that. So it's not going to be like a bulk move. We're just going to do them one at a time. and move things over. So you'll see, and we're going to prefix all the repositories with Emporus. So it's distinguishable. And also on the Ortelius side, we'll end up renaming a few of them.
One quick, I don't know, is Alex hand?
Yeah,
question.
Alex, go ahead.
Alex,
Just jump in.
go ahead.
We're not that formal here.
Oh yeah, thank you. I did you and Andy talk about the website? We had talked about maybe having like a section under the Ortelius website for Emporus instead of a standalone, just to keep formatting and everything cohesive.
Tracy, you're on mute. Hang on.
Kat and I had a meeting on it. Kat's going to be out, I think, until early May. So I'm not sure if we'll have that done. But what we will do on the Emporus side at a minimum is I'm going to add a high-level menu item for Emporus. So it'll go over to your website. And then Kat was going to work on getting the both the documentation put underneath right now, put underneath the, I'll show you how that looks really quick here. So here's the documentation. She was going to move the user guide, which is, this is in a Hugo Markdown, so that we have a, or we'll have an Emporus user guide under here. And then I don't think we were planning on making a big change on the website, but Kat was going to look to see what would make sense if we create a full-on new kind of section for Emporus underneath the Ortelius website, or just keep the Emporus website as it is and maybe do some kind of branding around colors and whatnot, which I think will be the easiest, because then if you guys do become your own project, say in a year or two, then that website is still independent. So Kat is working on it if you want to reach out to Kat, Alex.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I think, you know, one of the having the two websites does help us cross-link and get search references back and forth between the two, which just helps our ranking scores and stuff like that overall. It's a way to cheat by having two websites, but everybody does it.
Yeah. Well, Kat was
Something
going to
about
look
cheating
into
time.
it and figure out
Yeah.
what was easiest. And I have I have to share this with everybody because it's really cute. I thought it was cute, but I'm easily abused, as some of you already know. Here is our, that's our little logo for the release with the Ortelius fully sucking up the Emporus logo. I thought it was cute.
It's
I would-
looking nice,
Oops.
but Ortelius is a little bit small.
Well, I could have made this bigger, but you got to try to keep the see, it's very cute. I thought it was really cute.
Well, the Ortelius, like Ortelius logo, has so much potential. You can do like so much.
Oh,
Yes,
I know.
yes,
The
Sergio.
logo,
Like,
it's so much fun to play with doing graphics with an alien, isn't it, Sergio? It's
yeah,
because there's so
it's very
much you can
enjoyable.
do.
Yeah.
Makes
So
it super
Sergio,
easy.
the last idea that that was thrown around was a spaceship with oars.
With oars.
Because Emporus is, you know, think of
a merchant ship.
Emporium like a marketplace, and so it was a merchant ship. So we'll do
Oh,
a
okay,
spaceship
okay,
with
okay.
oars.
That
So
a lot
get
of
your
images came to my head when you said
yeah,
that. Yeah.
start thinking about merchants and spaceships.
Yeah. We can do a lot. I will take some time for that.
while you're sitting bored at your meetings, you can sit there and draw.
And the airport, I have now big scale too, so
Yeah.
like a big connection. So yeah.
All right, cool. Anybody have anything else? All righty. Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
Thank you all. Alex,
care.
if you need to chat about that blog, just reach out to me and share the Google Doc with me, and I'll be happy to add some Ortelius stuff around it.
Okay, I already got it started. And I'll probably hit up Andy and just talk about that for a little bit, and then shoot you a link with what we have.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
Cheers.